All right, so on the last video, we improved our network security. Now in this video, we're going to take a look, do a bit of a diving into infrastructure security. We're going to do a few different exercises. The first one being set up a honeypot with Pentbox. And to get into a bit about what a honeypot is, it's pretty much a decoy or trap created by organizations or a person to attract hackers into a computer system. Now, one of the main objectives of using a honeypot, of course, is to monitor the hacker exploit, the vulnerabilities of the system, and then learn the weaknesses, of course, of the system and apply the necessary security measures to strengthen it from further attacks. So we can actually get started here in just a second with downloading and installing Pentbox first. All right, so let's get started here. So just going to open up the terminal so I can install it. So we're just going to do this command here. Pipe there. Okay. See where I went wrong here. I think I see it here. All right, perfect. So we're good. So before I continue, just let you know that Pentbox really is it's a suite that has various security tools to streamline security activities in the network. So we can actually use it for various purposes, like setting up a honeypot, which we'll be doing. Right now we're just installing and setting up a basic honeypot for this particular device that we're on. So I got the command I wanted. I said I had put a 0 there instead of our uppercase O. We got the response back okay, so that's what we're needing. So now we can actually, let's see, do this here. I could type out, okay. I'm gonna reach that level again. All right, perfect. There we go. All right. All right, perfect. So we got the confirmation and everything looks pretty good so far. Connecting to proxy sent, saving, all of that jazz. So actually, let's clear this out. So we're good. All right, so let's enter in this to uncompress the Pentbox files. Let's do, let's see, this here, response 8.car.pc. All right, perfect. Another successful. So now pretty much these are all the Pentbox files. Let's extract it from the folder. Now we're going to change to the Pentbox folder now that we have everything extracted here. So let's go here. On that there, perfect. So now since we're in, go ahead and do this here. Perfect. All right, so this command allows us to access the required file in the Pentbox directory, right? So now we're in the menu, so let's go to Network Tools. Let's see. There it is. All right, perfect. So now we're in there. Let's see. We want honeypot, as we mentioned before. So we got to run it with root privileges, right? So that's fine. Right. All right. So now I got the activation I got the notification that it's been activated on port 80. So we're actually going to keep the terminal running. And this is going to allow me now to modify the proxy server exceptions and another server here. So actually, we're going to swivel over to Practice Lab Windows, and then we're going to open up Internet Explorer. So let's do that. I prefer Edge over Explorer, but for Microsoft, but fortunately, that's where all my tools are. So actually, let me see here, Internet options. Actually, it should be here. There it is. All right, so let's take a look at our connection, and then the local area network. There we go. Take a look at these settings. So now we're going to ensure that the bypass proxy server for the local address checkbox is ticked. All right, perfect. And then advanced. And then we want for the proxy settings, want it to be, let's see, let's use this one here. Actually, let's see, we cancel, then here. All right, perfect. So we're actually going to use the, cancel that again. I want to make sure that it's correct. All right, so, and actually, darn it, I don't want to take that off. So we're going to do this here. All right, perfect. So we're going to hit OK. All right, still going to hit OK here also. All right, so now we're going to test the honeypot functionality. So now that we've kind of configured it, we're going to test the functionality of it. So one of the simplest methods could be like attempting to access the web server to access the web server that is running, right? So in the past, we're just going to test the functionality of the Pentbox honeypot. So let's see, actually click OK here. We're going to type in here. All right, so that's good. That's perfectly fine as far as the access denied, right? So now I'm going to swivel back over here. The terminal is still running, so the Pentbox is running, so that's good. And as we can see here also, intrusion intent detected, and it'll give us the IP and the date and time, right? So that's good. So now that we see how the honeypot pretty much works, the administrator of the system where the honeypot is deployed, usually it takes the appropriate measures to strengthen the defensiveness of the computer system, usually, right? So now that we have that done, we see what the honeypot looks like as far as when it's in action by way of Pentbox. Now we're going to move forward to our next exercise. All right, so now that we've done the honeypot exercise, now we're going to move on to data collector set. So it's going to use the performance monitor, excuse me, to collect collect data on important server resources like the CPU, memory disk, network interface. And this utility can come in a bit handy if you want to like perform capacity planning and find out how the server is performing under a specific workload, right? So first, to do this, we're going to have to create some data collector sets, right? It's a useful feature of the performance monitor, right? That allows us to collect what we need. So we're going to head over here, then we're going to go to performance monitor. Good. Then we're going to expand data collector sets. That's what we're here for, right? So let's see, under here, do a new data collector set, of course. Let's see, how would you like to create this? Put one to sleep. Darn it. All right, perfect. And we want to create it manually advanced. All right, and then what type of data do you want to include? I want to create data logs and performance counter based off what I I just mentioned about checking the performance, right? So which ones would we like to add? All right, let's take a look, actually. So from the counters, available counters, we're going to add, let's see, system object. Here. Let's see here. Should be able to see the counter. Oh. Let's see. No? Okay. Check this. Okay. No. Okay. I can fix this. Let's see. No. So I'm looking for system object counter, and it's just for some reason it's not wanting to show me. All right, so I'm not going to make the video longer than it needs to be because we've got quite a few exercises here. Let me fix this really quickly. All right, so I've added all of the available counters uh, to this so far. Quite a process. So now that we added the free space for logical disk, the memory for pages, and the network interface as well as the processor, these are all geared towards performance, right? That we're taking a look for. We're also going to change the sample interview to 1 second. Then we're going to hit next here. And then I think this is the default is pretty cool. So that's all right. And let's see, run as default. Now save and close. All right. And then it's perfect. All right. So now I've completed the customized data collector set. So I'm going to take a look here and select start. All right, so just going to let this custom data collector set run for about a minute, just to collect at least the necessary data. And then, see, should run just a few more moments. All right, so it's been about a minute, so we can go ahead and stop it. All right, there it is. All right, and then I'm going to click on here so we can take a look. Then let's see the processor time here. Okay. Right. So it's collecting data in real time. Let's see. Actually, just going to here, right? And take a look at the properties for the chart itself. And then let's click on the source tab, right? And then log files, then add. All right. So let's see. Take usage. Got the date number. Perfect. All right, perfect. So we got the now the dialog box that just displays pretty much the test that we ran for the off-peak usage test, right? And now you can kind of see here the time range indicating the start and the end of the log file, right? So as you can see, we went for roughly about a minute, right? Just under 60 seconds. And now we need to actually import the performance of object in the counter. So it's gonna do this here. So I'm just gonna add the counters. See this, pretty much everything I did earlier, but it's a lot more streamlined. See, so I don't have to skip through everything. Thank God. All right, perfect. So now that we have those object counters in place, now it displays pretty much the chart view of the data collector set that captures statistics on the process and memory network interface on the logical disk, right? So now I'm actually going to create a schedule for the collector logs. So let's see, yep, we're on the right one here. So select the properties and schedule, of course, naturally, right? Okay, and then let's see, we're going to do beginning from today's date, that's fine. And then we're going to do till a week from today, which would be the 9th, of course. And then start time could be about 12 a.m., which is fine. Then we'll click OK, hit apply. Of course, do that, and then right, to be able to change it. And the authority would be right. Perfect. All right, so we're good there. We have the schedule up and running. Still, as far as at least starting from today, scheduled to run till the 9th, which is a week from today. So now that we've done that, we can actually move on to our next exercise. All right, so this exercise, we're going to be configuring alerts for data collector sets. And alerts are a key feature when working with data collector sets. So they actually work to highlight certain key points of information when the system is beginning to show signs of stress, right? Allowing the admin to review and address the problem, right? So first, just going to configure a few alerts. Just going to log, it logs an event viewer that gives information to the system admin, right? When the hardware resource may have reached its threshold level. So actually, let's reopen what we just had here. There we go. All right, perfect. So we're going to create a new data collector set similar to what we did in the last exercise, but of course now it's going to be, at least for this task, it's going to be built around alerts. So we're going to do processor alert test. All right, and then we're going to create manually, of course. And then, of course, we want the performance counter option, right? And then let's see here, right? So for the processor object, since I closed it out and I came back in, it doesn't have the prereqs for everything that I've already chosen, like I did before. So let's see, processor time. Right, that's how we add that. All right, total instances. Yeah, actually, no, let me remove and we do total. All right, perfect. Now we have that add. We see it counted here, at least in the added counters box, right? So now let's actually, that's all we need. So back in here, all right, let's see, is there one in the alert system? Actually, see here. because it should be asking another question. See. There it is. That's what I missed. And I got to go back to add the processor. Total add. We're okay there. Now, as far as when it should be, as far as the limit, let's do 2. All right, so when it goes above 2, as far as its limit, right, it'll give the admin an alert. So I'm gonna go here, and then we're going to, of course, save and close with the finish. All right, so now let's see. Now let's actually take a look at the properties for the processor alert test that we've just created. So let's see. Let's take a look at the, let's see, no, not the right one. Oh, there it is. That's what I meant to do. So I didn't see alerts. I'm like, wait a minute, right? So we're going to change it to actually 1 second, right? When I hit apply, actually, um, all right, perfect. So we're good there as far as training it. So let's take a look at the alert action, all right? So now I'm just going to hit log and entry in the application event log so we can actually have a log list of when it does happen along, in addition to the alerts, right? So it's going to also select, let's see, processor alert test. So we're going to click here because we're secure here, right? So now I'm just going to put this here and then have it start. And again, I'm going to do it for another, just a minute like before. I'm just going to create some activity on this computer, at least with this server, to simulate a processor being stressed. All right, in just a moment, but I'm just going to run this test first. All right, so while this is going on, I'm actually going to, let's see, minimize this. Let's see. um, let's see. Looking for, there it is. There it is. All right, perfect. So we have the CPU-Z dialog box here. So let me take a look at the bench. Then rest. There it is. All right, perfect. So it now is just stressing intentionally the CPU, the computer processing unit. So the processing, it has started, as you can see here. And then we're going to let it run again roughly for about a minute. And then I'm going to hit stop. I'll put you guys on the other side of that minute. All right, so now I'm just going to hit stop here. And of course, the performance monitor is still running in the background. Remember that. So I'm actually going to bring it back up here. Then I'm going to stop the processor alert test. And so now I'm just going to view the logged event, right, regarding the processor time reaching its threshold level. So let's go back to the server manager here. Event viewer. Let's load. Take a look here. Okay, I should put something different. There it is. Okay, all right, perfect, we're good. Windows, and the diagnosis, PLA, there we go. All right, perfect. So uh, there it is. All right, perfect. So I'm just going to look for the event ID. I believe this is it. Yep, this is it. All right, perfect. So, well, notice that the processor time um, has tripped to its alert threshold, right? Error, error. Um, here also. So, so we know that it works, right? Performance counter process time is tripped to its alert threshold. The current value is blah 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 over the limit value. Amazing. So we set up an alert and for the data collector sets, and they actually were great. So we can actually move forward to the next exercise, which is going to be enabling EFS on a standalone Windows computer, which is an encrypting file system. So it's a security feature built into Windows also that helps secure personal folders and files on a workstation. So it uses a strong encryption algorithm called DESX. It's a variant of the data encryption standard of the US government. So we're actually going to start with removing Windows computer from the domain, right? So let's actually minimize this. Then let's see, admin. Okay, all right. Unexpected something else. That's out of work. Right, remove computer. Yes. Okay. Come on. There we go. Now restart computer. All right, perfect. It'll take at least a minute for it to restart again. But it's still gonna allow us to move on to our next task, which is to create a local user for testing our local EFS. So let's actually get this up and running. And since there is no regular users on the standalone Windows server other than the admin for this lab, I'll just create a local user that will be used for testing. So should load up here in a moment. All right, so we got everything reloaded, right? Exit all this stuff out, right? And then let's see, computer management. All right, perfect. Local users, please make sure here. All right, perfect. So we're going to name it Fred. I actually have a buddy named Fred. I believe he's out in Tampa. Hope he's enjoying it out there. Let's see. Perfect. And then create. So we should be able to see Fred under the users. So here, there it is. Hey Fred, how you doing, buddy? All right, so I'm actually going to close this out now that I've added Fred. I'm going to allow, at least for the next task, log on to the system via remote desktop. Um, so let's take a look here. So system, the remote, there we go. Add, and of course we know who we want to add. Fred. Hey Fred, hey buddy. Want to take a look at my computer? All right, so actually, see, I'm actually going to add, let's see, mm, actually going to do that instead. Then I'll move right here. Then there we go. All right, so now that I've added the authenticated users, now back on the remote desktop um, settings page or dialog box, or what you like to call it. I'm just gonna actually close this out, right? So then I'm just going to, actually, let me do something else really quick here. Sign out. Perfect. So now I'm just going to create a file, a folder, and enable the EFS, right? So we can actually do this on the, we can enable EFS files and folders so we store on the disk, right? So we'll create a folder and then apply encryption using EFS. I believe I did something similar to this not too long ago on another video. Just going to wait for it to load, and then I'm going to sign in as Fred, right? And then of course, here we go. Ah, got to check it. Darn it. Okay. Yeah, because usually it gives you the option when you're creating a user to uncheck that that it has to be changed, because that's pretty annoying. But nonetheless, we're in. So I'll read to the license agreement. Once it populates, if it doesn't, then that's fine. Let's open up the file explorer here. 3, 4, um, sure, whatever. All right, perfect. So now that we got it up, so let's go to our local disk here. See, we're actually going to open up a new folder, as I mentioned, right? And we're going to name it EFS test, right? Because we're going to test the encryption, right? So actually, let's open this up, and then, like we always do, text document. So we'll name it as protect, if I can spell correctly. All right, perfect. So I'm going to open it up, and then this is a test for EFS. All right, so save and then exit out here. All right, so, oh, I was about to close it, I already closed it, right? So I'm gonna right click on the folder here, select the properties so we can begin encrypting it, right? So let's see, event, and then let's see, encrypt content, secure data, of course. We want to apply. Yeah, all right, that's fine. All right, perfect. So we can actually hit OK there. All right, and then I'm actually going to keep the file explorer window open while I do the next task, which is to view the EFS, the encryption file system permissions. All right, so when a folder and its file contents are displayed or are encrypted rather, the owner can actually set permissions, right? That will allow users to read the contents of the encrypted file, but they can't really do like write or execute or anything like that. But a certificate is usually mandatory to allow another user to read an encrypted file. So let's take a look at the permissions. All right, so I'm signed in as Fred, right? Yeah, because I mean, of course. Right, so so let's take a look at, let's see, where is it? There it is. So then, okay, fine. Right, so now I'm just gonna take a look at properties here. All right, then and let's take a look at the details. Oh, so Fred can access the file. All right, perfect. And only Fred has access to the said file. Now, at this point, Fred will be unable to add other users who can access this file because the local admin does not have the user certificate, right? So similarly, there is no recovery certificate defined for the file as well. So this means that the file is not recoverable by the local admin. So we're going to exit out of here, right? And then going to, what are we applying? We already did everything we want to do. All right, so now that we closed everything out, at least from the file, we're just now going to view the effect of copying or moving files on encryption, right? So an encrypted file actually can be copied or moved typically by the owner of said file, but now we're just going to find out what happens when an encrypted file is copied or moved to another folder. So I'm actually going to go here, then new, then we're going to create a new folder, and then EFS target. If I could spell my spelling, man. My spelling. All right, so I'm going to click the folder here. And actually, you know what? Let me copy this. So then, hey. All right, so we pasted the protect text document, which retained, of course, is encrypted attribute, as you can see with the key lock there, if you can see it. Not sure if I can zoom in, but there's a key lock here, right? So going to, let's see, let's rename it. And then copy. All right, perfect. So now I'm just gonna go back to the test folder and then cut it. Is it cut? That's interesting. So let's go back here. Paste. Yeah, interesting. All right, so now we notice that the protect text document, right, it retains this encrypted attribute. All right, so I'm just going to keep this open while we move into the next task, which is going to be decrypting the file. So usually when the file is encrypted, right, or like to read the file or make modifications of any kind, we need to first decrypt it. So now we're just going to use the command prompt as an alternative to decrypt a folder and its file. So let's see, we're still signing the thread. So open that baby up and then let's do some commands. All right, so cipher, capital D, and then we want it in the local drive C, and then where else do we want to go? EFS test. Okay. All right, so set in the directory, new files, okay, decrypting files, and it was eventually decrypted, which is good, right? So now that it has been decrypted, the folder itself was not decrypted because it's in as it's an empty folder, right? So we're going to decrypt the folder as well with a new command. So let's actually do, let's see. Actually, hold on. Let's see. I got confused. Target. All right, perfect. And then all right, perfect. So now that we've decrypted the file, we've also decrypted the folder. But now I'm just going to sign out here. All right. Reload. All right, perfect. So that'll bring us to the end of the video for infrastructure security. And just for a brief recap of everything that we went over, we set up a honeypot with Pentbox by way of that. Data collector sets, we went through that, and we also configured alerts for a data collector set. And we also enabled encrypted file systems on a standalone Windows computer. We tested the honeypot functionality. We allowed logon to the system via remote desktop and things of that nature, right? We viewed the EFS, encrypted file system permission, and the effects of copying or removing files that were encrypted, and we also decrypted the file in the folder as well. So on the next video, we're actually going to talk about identity and access management, and I'll see you there.